About the author and illustrator. Eileen Cristello had a strange dream when she was just 3 years old. She dreamed she could read. In first grade, she really did learn to read. From then on, Eileen's nose was almost always in a book. As Eileen grew up, she discovered art and photography. She also liked children's books and thought about writing and illustrating one of her own. After a lot of work, Eileen's first book was published. She went on to publish many more. Eileen gets her story ideas from newspapers, the radio, and even conversations. Author's purpose. Why do you think the author uses 2 dogs as characters in Vote?
Now that we've learned about the author and illustrator Eileen Cristello, we are going to answer some questions about the purpose of why she writes her stories. We call this author's purpose. We've been learning a lot about author's point of view, which is when we try to understand what the author's thoughts and feelings are based on what they wrote in their text or their storybook. On the other hand, author's purpose is when we identify why they wrote the story. Not necessarily their thoughts or feelings about the text, but why they wrote it. Let's hop on over to another screen to take a look at the 3 parts of author's purpose. So author's purpose tells us why the author wrote the text. And there's usually 3 reasons why someone would write a text or a story. Those 3 reasons are persuade, inform, or entertain. We say that author's purpose is easy as pie because the first letter in each of these words spell out the word pie, P-I-E. This is a good way to remember the 3 reasons why authors write stories or texts. P stands for persuade, which is to convince the reader of a certain point of view. So they're writing to get you to believe what they believe. The I stands for inform, which means to teach or give information to the reader. The E stands for entertain, which means to hold the attention of the reader through enjoyment. So if the author is writing to entertain, the whole reason is just to give the reader enjoyment. It's reading purely for fun. The author's purpose of our anthology text called Vote is to inform. They're not telling us how we should vote or what political party to be part of. And you might find some entertainment throughout the text, but the author's main purpose of writing the story is to teach and give information to the reader about the voting process. If you remember at the beginning of the story, we said the genre of the anthology text Vote was expository text. And remember, with an expository text, all of the information is based on true facts and nothing is made up. So when you have an expository text, the author's purpose is to inform. They want to tell you truthful information and true facts to teach you something. Now that we know that the author's purpose of writing this anthology text is to inform us, let's hop back over to our text to answer that question. All right, the question was, why do you think the author uses 2 dogs as characters in Vote? Well, the author chose to use those 2 dogs throughout the story because they carry on a conversation that will help the reader understand the information that the author's trying to teach you. So instead of just giving you information in a paragraph form, the author provides a conversation through these dog characters to help you understand the information better. For your assignment, you are given the author's point of view, and you have to go back into the anthology text called Vote and find 3 details that support this point of view. The point of view is, throughout the text, the author explains the steps to being a good voter. She must think voting is very important. So the author's point of view is that voting is very important. Your job is to go back into the anthology text and find 3 details that support this point of view. You can double-click in each box to type each detail. Remember, you can always find the anthology text in Wonders under the blue bubble called Read. Just click on there and find the anthology text, Vote. Let's respond to the text. I'm going to start down here with Make Text Connections. The first question says, why is it important for people to vote in elections? This was our essential question. By reading this story, we learned that voting is important because it is a way to choose the person who will represent you in your government. You want to make sure that you're represented so the things that you care about are taken care of. There's evidence throughout the text that supports this idea. On page 103, I read that candidates must get as many people as possible to vote, and that people can vote for whomever they want. And on page 104, I read that if people don't vote, they're letting everyone else decide for them. Our second question says, how can people take part in community government? People can take part in community government by voting, by volunteering for candidates, and by participating in political events. Do you remember in the text where it showed voters helping their candidate? All right, boys and girls, I hope you've enjoyed learning about our author and illustrator, Eileen Cristolow. Don't forget to complete your graphic organizer assignment on Point of View. Good luck and bye for now.